I found this quote. I wrote it down. I'd like to read it to you. There's a couple ones that I wanted to read when we're talking today about us girl stuff. This one says, women are like the force. Women are like the force. They have a light side and a dark side, and they bind the galaxy together. Women are like the force. They have a light side and a dark side, and they bind the galaxy together. That's a quote by Darth Vader. So he's so smart. It's true. You know, it's interesting. We have a lot of power as women. We do. We have a lot of power, and we have power to do good and to do bad. And there's a lot of ways that we can help people and we can teach people, or we can also be the type of force in the world that enables it to lower its standards too. And we can do that by how we treat ourselves, how we know ourselves. And sometimes I think for us ladies, you know, our hearts are so huge and they're so stinking big and amazing. And I know, I mean, I'm sure this is the way that you feel. Like, don't you just love to love? Yeah. And you're really good at it. You're really, really good at it. In fact, biologically, our bodies are meant for relationship in a very special way. Men are too, but even with us, though, in our anatomy, because we have a womb, whether or not we ever have children, whether we're called to the vocation of religious life or called to the vocation of marriage or whatever, but our bodies have this special part. We have a womb where we can grow life within us. And so, like, we're just hardwired, in a sense, for relationship in a very special way. And so sometimes we have this huge desire to love, and we just love no matter how much whatever is going on, and all we want to do is love, we can distort that. We can sometimes love the wrong things or the wrong people or the wrong situation, and that can lead to problems and lead to heartbreak too, you know? And so I know I shared with you earlier parts of my story when I was on Top Model, and then afterwards, and that point of conversion for me after Top Model and being in the photo shoot, and so you know that. But there's one part that I wanted to share with you, and I definitely like to share, at a more personal level, just with us girls, just because it's easier. But there's this story that I have that I wanted to share with you that kind of shows you a little bit about me. And my desire for love, my desire, to love and to go after all the good things, but sometimes not make the best choices. So I was 15 years old, and I was a sophomore in high school, and I was dating this guy. He was a senior, He was cool because he couldn't get a girl his own age to date. So he found me. I mean, he was a nice guy. But anyways, so we were dating. And, of course, the big thing going on at that point in high school, the biggest thing, of course, is the dances, the homecoming dance, right? Where you feel like your whole life will, like, either just completely be perfect or you'll spontaneously combust if it doesn't go right. Why do we feel that way? But we do. Like, if this one moment doesn't happen exactly this way, it's all for naught, right? So I guess I felt that way. But anyways, so I was getting ready for the homecoming dance and getting really excited about it. And I had this new boyfriend. I was in a new school. My parents moved from Oklahoma to St. Louis. So I had a whole new group of friends and all of this stuff. All these things are also going on at the same time. And so I'm dating this guy. We're getting ready for the homecoming dance. And a couple days before the dance, I'm walking out of class with my boyfriend's best friend, who was in my grade, because that makes the most sense. So we're walking out, and he says to me, "So Leah, are you ready for it?" And I was like, "Oh yeah, I am so ready for it." He's like, "Really?" I'm a little surprised. I didn't think that you would say that. you're really ready for it. And I was like, yeah, I am so ready for it. Again, he keeps emphasizing this word it. And I'm like, I don't know why he keeps talking about that, but I am so ready for it, right? He's like, yeah, no, Leah, come on. You know what I mean? It, you know? It. Are you ready for it? And I'm like, yeah. It. It is what I'm ready for. I was ready last week for it. So ready. And he walks off, shaking his head. I walk off the other way, kind of shaking my head, thinking, what is going on? What is he talking about? I had no idea what he was talking about. This is the truth. God forbid that my mind be pure and innocent. So I obviously don't know what he's talking about. I think what he's talking about is what I think any 15-year-old girl should think when she's asked if she's ready for it, which is, meaning, in the sense of like, are you ready for the homecoming dance? Is, do you have your shoes and your dress, earrings? Have you picked out the right color nail polish? The basics of being ready for it. So my basketball team found out that I don't know what it is. So they came and started talking to me and saying, hey, Leah, we found out. And they're kind of giving me a hard time and making fun of me and whatever. And I was just like, yeah, whatever. I know what it is. Trying to lie, just, to fake it. And then I tried to do the reverse psychology, which never really works. So that psychology is just crap. But anyways, I'm like, oh, man, I get it. You don't know what it is, and you want me to tell you. Like, I will so tell you what it is. After lunch, I'll go look it up and figure it out, Library. I'm sure Webster will tell me, I really didn't know. And so my friend said, no, Leah, come on, it is sex. Man, you didn't know that? And I'm like, no, I did not know we were talking about sex. That's a pretty big thing. I thought we were talking about shoes. Shoes. Sex. Worlds apart, people. At least they should be. Worlds apart. So, I couldn't believe what was going on, that we were really having this conversation. And I'm not an idiot. I knew my friends were having sex in high school, okay? I had lots of friends who were doing that with their boyfriends or something of the sort. So it's not the fact that I was just so, out there and didn't know, living, underneath a rock. It was just more of the idea of like, but now it's personal. Now the question's coming to me. Now I'm being asked if I'm ready for sex. Now I'm being asked if I'm ready to do this with somebody that I do love and I do care about, actually. And should I not? What are the pros and cons? All those other things. All this stuff is going on. So it's all well and good to talk about. It's all well and good when you kind of can know other people who are maybe doing this or not doing that. But when it's personal, when it comes down to, but what are you going to do? What are you going to do? Are you going to do this or that? That's when you can kind of freeze. And so I didn't know what to do. I had heard of the obvious things of like, oh, you should wait till marriage, and I remember my parents saying that stuff. I didn't understand the why. I didn't bother asking the why. I definitely understood my friend's position of, well, I love this person, so that's just what you do. I mean, that's a way that you express that. And if you don't do that, then you might be saying that you don't love that person. And you're not going to be a murderer of love, are you? You wouldn't do that. You love love. You're just going to give and give and give, right? It's kind of the thought. Nobody says it like that. But it's kind of the thought. So anyways, homecoming night comes, all right? I'm there. I'm in my cute little dress. Ladies, it was so adorable. My shoes were the exact same material of my dress, bought at a different store, like the total fashion miracle of God, right? You walk in, it may have happened to you already. You've walked into the store. You see this item. It's like it raises on a pedestal above all the other ones. It's unbelievable. The beam of light comes down. The Gloria is playing in the background. And all of a sudden the clouds break. The voice of God, Leah, these are my beloved shoes. Yes. Yes, Lord, I will buy them. It's amazing, right? Maybe not exactly. It kind of feels that way. I was so excited when I got those shoes. Like I said, they were the same material of my dress, bought at a different department store. It was the miracle. Can't say no. So I got them. I had the whole thing, earrings and all together, all ready to go. Walk out of the house. Mom and Dad kiss me goodbye. They do the awkward picture at the fireplace, all of that. And I go to the dance. After the dance, there's all the parties afterwards. You go to this party, that party. You say you're going to be at that place, but you're not at that place. You check in. Then you go to that place, right, where you finally get to a place where you don't have any type of parental supervision, because we know that's where we make the best decisions in life. So you get there, and I had a choice to make. It was go time. I knew what was being presented to me, and I had a choice to make if I was going to choose real love, the love that is not imitation, the love that desires the very best for the person, the love that would never, ever ask the other to do something that they would regret. Was I going to go for real love? Or was I going to go for imitation love? The type of love that says, yes, now, and let's just worry about it later. Yes, now, because I love you, and it's okay. I'll be with you when you cry and regret this maybe a few years later, a few decades later. Yes, now, and you know what? I'm sure your husband on your wedding day will understand. Yes, now, because I want it from you. So I had a choice to make. And at 15, and I say this, and I can understand how it may sound cliche, but this is the honest to God truth. I really did not think at 15, even 16, 17, 18, that some of the decisions, some of the choices that I would make would literally have a lasting effect on me. I just thought, hey, you make a choice, even if it's good or bad. If it's bad, you screw up, you'll get over it, you'll deal with it, it'll be okay. It's okay. It's not the worst thing. Man, I was so wrong. So at 15, I chose out of those two different types of love, right? Or versions of it. I chose the imitation love. I lost my virginity at 15. I gave something away to that person that never belonged to him, I gave something away that, in the end, now that I know a little bit more about my life, that was for Ricky. Was he there immediately after the fact when I left and I went to the bathroom and I shut the door and I fell down? I just started crying, and I just knew something wasn't right. Like, if it's so great, if it's so good, then why do I feel so bad? If it's so good and there's nothing wrong with it, why all these years later do I tell you the story and I'm like this? The thing is sometimes we go after things in the world and we think they're so good at that moment, right? And we're trying to do the right thing because we really care about people or care about other things going on in our life, and we do it and we're like, man, that's not right. Sometimes we realize that too late. You see, I didn't understand love. We have these huge, great hearts as women, and we want to love everyone and everything, and that's good as long as you have the right definition of love, instead of love just being this emotion and this feeling that drives all your choices. We can't allow our emotions and our feelings to drive our choices in life. They can support it sometimes, but they're not seeking truth. Emotions, that's not their task, is to seek truth. You see, love is desiring the greatest good for the beloved. That's a definition of love for you to have. If you don't have a definition of love, you need to commit that one to memory. Love is desiring the greatest good for the beloved. So, you got to think about it. Who loves you? Who do you love? Are you desiring their greatest good? And then the next question you should ask yourself is, well, then what is the greatest good, right? Is the greatest good sin? Is the greatest good regret, depression, anxiety because of the choices that you're asking someone to make with you because you love them? You love them so much. Love is desiring the greatest good for the beloved. There's a story here in the Bible about a woman who's made some pretty poor choices too. I can connect with her. And it's pretty interesting. I wanted to share just a few pieces of it. But it's the story of the woman at the well. You know that? You know that girl? No? Yes? Okay, yeah. Well, she's at a well. She's a woman. All right, so she's at this well. All right, this is from the Gospel of John. I'm not going to read the whole thing. It's pretty long. There's a few parts in here, though, that are interesting to me, and I wanted to kind of bring them up and chat with you about them, I guess. So she's here at the well. Christ comes up to her, and he's asking her these different questions. So this is how it goes. All right. There came a woman of Samaria to draw water. Jesus said to her, "Give me drink." The Samaritan woman said to him, "How is it that you, a Jew, ask a drink of me, a woman of Samaria? The Jews have no dealings with Samaritans." Jesus answered her, "If you knew the gift of God and who it is that is saying to you, 'Give me a drink,' you would have asked him, and he would have given you living water." The woman said to him, "Sir, you have nothing to draw with, and the well is deep. Where do you get that living water?" Jesus said, "Everyone who drinks of this water from this well will thirst again, but whoever drinks of the water that I shall give him will never thirst." The woman said, "Sir, give me this water, that I may not come to draw here anymore." And this is the funny part. There's always humor in the gospel. Jesus said to her, "Okay, go call your husband. Come on back." The woman answered, I have no husband." She's trying to be diplomatic in her answer. And Jesus is like, "Yep, you're right. You don't have a husband. You got 5. And the one you're with right now, he ain't your husband either." So this is what she says to him after he says this. Can you imagine someone coming up to you and like revealing some of like your worst, darkest sins to your face? "Yeah, I know about you." I mean, I would be shocked. So then this is her response. "Sir, I perceive that you're a prophet." And then she goes on. I'll finish the rest of the story here in a second. But it's interesting how this woman in the well, she comes, first off, she's coming in the middle of the afternoon, all right, because she doesn't go in the morning, early in the morning where everyone else would go, all the other women would go. That would be the best time to go and to draw water from the well because it's cooler in the day. The women do it. It's a social activity as well. But see, the other women don't like her because they know what she's done. All right? She's known 5 men biblically. All right? And the guy she's with right now, that's not her husband. So she's had this bad run. And so she goes in the afternoon because nobody else wants to be around her. I definitely relate to that. And, from my past sins of impurity and just other stuff that I've done where you kind of make mistakes and there's sometimes people in your life or even yourself that kind of just beat you down about your past and you just feel like you just can't go on. So you try to remove yourself from those situations. So she goes, but Christ reveals to her more about herself. Christ reveals to her not just her sins, but he's coming to her for a reason. The purpose of this gospel is not that Jesus is pointing out her sins. The purpose of this gospel is for Jesus to come to us as women as well, right? Who are sinful. We make our own mistakes, no matter whatever it is. Maybe your mistakes, maybe your brokenness has nothing to do with impurities. Maybe it has something else. But whatever it is, it's something. But Christ is coming to us And he's telling us, look, I know what you want, and I can give you that living water. I can fill your heart. You see, we sometimes look to the world, right, to draw out from the world all that we want. Well, whatever it is, we want to be pretty, we want to have love, we want to have fame, or we want to, I don't know, anything. And sometimes when we do that, we draw from the world, and it's just always empty. And Christ, as he's with the woman at the well, is saying, hey, there could be something more. I can give you living water. I can give you what you are looking for and what you want. You know what, to go back to my story when I was 15, and so I made this mistake, and I thought, oh my gosh, I did not think God would forgive me. I mean, that is so stupid, but I thought that. I just thought I couldn't even forgive myself. I was so upset and hurt about what I did. I didn't know what to do, and I just thought, well, whatever. I'm just wasted talent, Nobody will ever love me the way that I should. No guy will really want to marry me because of my past. So whatever, I'll just figure it out. And I made mistake after mistake after mistake after that, thinking that I just wasn't worth that forgiveness. I wasn't worth God really filling my heart and healing me. So I got married 1 year ago, the end of June, to celebrate my 1-year anniversary. Thanks. I have a pickup, if we can show it, of my sweet Ricky and me at our wedding. There's us. He's so cute. Look at him. He's praying so hard. He's like, oh, God, I'm marrying a crazy woman. Nah, that's us. Ricky, when he proposed to me, he said something to me that, of course, I'll never forget. I mean, I'll never forget the fact when he said, hey, will you marry me? But there's this other part, And we were at the Grand Canyon, all right? And we got there so that we could see the sunrise, the Grand Canyon. I was so excited. So we're sitting there, and we're like, our feet are dangling over the edge of the Grand Canyon. And I'm pretending to fall and everything, so he'll catch me. Not a good move. But anyway, so I'm doing like, oh, okay. He's like, Leah, stop it. Okay. So we're getting ready, and so all of a sudden, the sun comes up, and it's beaming down into the canyon, and it's just amazing. Amazing to see this. The colors of the canyon are lighting up, the orange and the purple, and there's pink and red, and it's just, oh man, stinking awesome. And I'm like, this is so great, And I'm just looking at it, and I'm looking at this thing, and he goes, okay, are you ready to go? And I said, yeah, I think I'm ready to go. So I get up off the edge, and I get up, and I stand up to take one last pic of these beams of sun coming down into the canyon. And as I do that, I turn around after I finish my picture, and I see Ricky, and he's on a knee right there on the edge of that canyon. And he's got this sweet little ring with him. And I'm just like, oh. And of course, I just dropped to the floor. And he's like, no, get up, get up. I'm like, okay, I'm so sorry. And I see him, and he's on his knee, and I just, I'm just so, I don't know what to do. I'm so excited that all I kept saying was, yes, 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 yes. And he's like, I haven't said anything yet. Wait for it. But he ends up, after I'm like, okay, I'll be quiet. Go ahead. And he ends up looking at me, and he said something to me that was so powerful, and it took me back to me being a little girl at 15. And I still kind of think of myself as a little girl in a way, But when I was a real little girl at 15, and especially when I look out and I see all of you, I just see these sweet little girls. And that's not demeaning at all. I just think you're precious, and you're amazing. And you're so sweet, and you're trying so hard. I look out, and I do see you, and I know you are trying so hard to do the right thing. And so when Ricky was proposing, I thought back to when I was like you. and me trying so hard to do the right thing, making some mistakes along the way. And he said to me these words. He said, Leah, as he held this ring, Leah, I forgive you of your past. I love you. And I want to be the man that gets you to heaven. I want to be the man that gets you back where you belong. Yeah. I got it. And praise God that I had already committed myself to a life of purity way before I met Ricky. But when Ricky said those words, it made me really kind of think about at 15 how I had really defined myself by my past, by those past actions. And like that woman at the well, she probably felt very defined by her past actions and the current one she was doing, let's be honest. But there's a point when you just got to realize, okay, am I gonna keep going forward, or am I just going to actually change? Am I going to turn my back to the crowd and look forward, or am I going to keep living in how the world wants me to live? We have another one too here. I love this quote. I found this. You can pull it up somewhere. Or I can read it. Or that one works, yeah. Be the kind of woman that when your feet hit the floor each morning, the devil says, oh crap, she's up. I love that. It's kind of scary, right? But seriously, like, who do you want to be, you know? And Jesus comes and he meets that woman at the well. And basically he's like, look, this is what you've done in your past. Okay, look, that's not good. But what kind of woman do you want to be? What kind of woman do you seriously want to be? Do you want to be the one that the whole world holds up on a pedestal? Or do you want to be the one that Christ is holding up? I mean, that's the choice you got to make, right? It's a choice we all have to make. The rest of that gospel passage is really beautiful. So Jesus reveals himself to her. The woman said, I know that the Messiah is coming, he who is called Christ. When he comes, he will show us all things. Jesus said to her, I who speak to you am he. The woman went back into her city. She left her water jar at the well. She went back into her city and said to all the people, come, see a man who told me all that I ever did. Can this be the Christ? They went out into the city and they came to meet Jesus. Many Samaritans from that city believed in him because of the woman's testimony when she said, he told me all that I ever did. They said to the woman, it is no longer because of your words that we believe, for we have heard for ourselves and we know that this indeed is the Savior of the world. We have so much power. No matter what your past is, no matter what you've done, whatever. But we have so much power. That woman, I just love the fact, like, she left her jar at the well. That can be so analogous to our lives. Like, whatever it is that we've done, right? We can leave it at the sacrament of reconciliation. That thing that we keep trying to fill up in the world and try to do. And like this woman she went back into the city. You got to think about this. Remember, she was not well liked, all right? She's going to the well in the middle of the afternoon already. Doesn't have a lot of girlfriends. And then she ends up proclaiming of Christ to all these people. And then they come out. And because of her making a bold statement of faith, they come out and then they came to believe in Christ. That's huge. I mean, what do you want to do with your life? Seriously, what do you want to do? What do you want to do? What do you want to do? Be a saint? Peace Corps, president, what do you want to do? Lawyer, what do you want to do? Nurse, what do you want to do? I'm listening. Make a difference. Go to heaven. I want to be a superhero. Dude, me too. I so want to fly. The point is, to get you thinking about it. Thank you for at least responding, some of you. And the ones you respond in your heart, good for you too, seriously. But like, you have to think about this. What do you want to do? Man, life is short. Life is like crazy, stupid short. And you only got so much time. And yeah, you can do a lot of things in terms of profession, and that's good. Very good. Educate yourself. Go after those dreams. Nurse, Peace Corps, whatever else that you guys all said, go for it, do it. But at the end of the day, okay, then what kind of nurse are you going to be? What kind of missionary are you going to be? What kind of saint are you going to be? Because that's what I care about with you. I care about exactly what type of woman do you want to be. Not in like 10 minutes, but like the next 5 years. When you look back, who is that woman? Is she the woman that's kind of like what we had before? Is she the woman that's going to like embrace herself and her virtues and her life and live a life with Christ? Someone that she's proud to be with? Who is that woman, you know? And we have to figure that out. That woman at the well, she finally got it. She was like, man, I'm not doing this anymore. And symbolically, she left her jar at the well. She went back and she did what she was called to do at that moment. She proclaimed Christ to these people. We're called to do that. We are absolutely called to be there, you know, to be that type of woman, to turn our back on the crowd sometimes. And sometimes you have to do that. There's a quote by Bob Marley, which that kind of sounds awkward, right, at Steubenville, but it's up here, I think, and so this quote, let me read it here for you. Now, you got to sprinkle some holy water on this, okay? It's not, you know, it's Bob Marley. He says, if she's amazing, she won't be easy. If she's easy, she won't be amazing. If she's worth it, you won't give up. If you give up, you're not worthy. Truth is, everybody's going to hurt you, and you're just going to find, and you just got to find the ones we're suffering for. Now, once again, this is not gospel or anything. It's Bob Marley. You got to sprinkle some holy water on it. But it kind of looks at it, right? Kind of looks at these different types of what us women can be, what we can do, of leaving our past behind us and going out and doing something. This weekend, we've talked about being chosen, talking about arise, you know, come out from the tombs. And we have to kind of look at these different things and see the fact that God is calling us to understand that only He can fill our hearts. Like the woman at the well. He was the only one who was going to fill her heart and what she really wanted, the living water, right? And then God's going to heal our heart. He heals that through the sacrament of confession. He heals that through the Eucharist. When we go to receive Christ in the Eucharist, sometimes we go up there, right, and during Mass, and we just know that, you know, we're receiving Jesus, right? And we take in Jesus. But keep in mind, it's a two-way street. Man, Jesus is receiving you. He's taking you in as well. Christ came to fill our hearts. He came to heal our hearts. And He came to make us new. He came to fill us, to heal us, and to make us new. And we just kind of forget about that sometimes, right? We kind of forget about our power and what we can do with the world, how we can make it good. There's this quote here I wanted to share with you. First, I wanted to tell you a story. Okay, so there's this woman. All right, I love this story. It's a good one. So there's this woman. She's a flight attendant, okay? And she's a flight attendant. She's on the plane. She's working this flight. And she is getting ready to deliver the drinks to people. And there's this person on the plane. And he's dressed all in this priestly garb. And it's Archbishop Fulton Sheen. And so, I don't know if you know about this guy. Some of you do. I have a very holy crush on Venerable Fulton Sheen. It's holy because he's a priest and he's dead. So it makes it awkward if he's not holy. Okay. I love this man. Love this man. If you don't know who I'm talking about, dude, Google him. He's amazing. Venerable Fulton Sheen. He is on the plane. And so this flight attendant, she's gorgeous. The story goes that she's got this beautiful blonde hair, and she just is just a doll of a girl. And she comes in and she just says, can I get you something to drink? And he just stares at her, and he says, "What a waste." She says, "Excuse me? What a waste. There are children in Africa who will never see such beauty." And she just is shocked by his comment, like, what? So from what I know of the story, there was like more of a conversation between the two. And so this flight attendant is struck by his words of telling her of what a waste, right? And then basically saying that, everything else about her beauty, that there's children in Africa who won't even see it. And so she starts thinking about her life. About a year passes on a flight again. She sees Fulton Sheen. And she comes up and she says, "Do you remember me?" And they have more of a conversation. She's got these big tears in her eyes. And she says, "This is my last flight. I'm going to Africa." You see, that woman, Fulton Sheen, what he saw in her was more than just this exterior beauty. He saw something deep within her heart that was meant for love, and to love so beautifully as a woman, right? And that she was called to do something huge and great. Not that you need to go to Africa to do it by any means, but the willingness to do something more, to do something outside of yourself. And we as women, we can do that. We can do so much to help the world. Mother Teresa, whenever she did any project whatsoever, whenever she would commit herself to doing something, she would always end it with a phrase that she wrote to the person. Okay, let's go ahead and do this. And she says, "Let us do something beautiful for God. Let us do something beautiful." And that's how she always ended her letters to people when she would commit to a project with them. And it's kind of, I feel like, the same thing in our life too. Like, what are we going to do? How are we going to commit ourselves to do something beautiful for God? What will you do with your life? What's that beautiful thing that you will do? I can tell you right now that the 3 things that we're called to do that I mentioned before, when we understand that we've been chosen, is for us women to understand that Christ does these 3 things for us. He's the one that fills our hearts, not the world. He's the one that heals our hearts. He's the one that makes us new. When I think about my past life, I think about all the different ways that I chose so many things in the world. I chose the world. I chose boys. I felt chosen by Tyra. And at the end of the day, it's like, dude, who cares? I want to be chosen by God, and I am. Like, we are chosen by Christ. Tyra's not going to fill me. Boys won't make me feel better. The beauty magazines, all the other stuff, nope, that's not going to make me new. New lipstick, but come on. It's not going very far. Man, Christ makes us new, He does that for us. I want to share with you this one last quote here. This is a good one. Try to figure out where it's coming from, too. I don't know if you'll get it or not, but it's pretty good. All right, this one says, "The hour is coming, in fact, has come, when the vocation of women is being achieved in its fullness. The hour in which women acquire in the world an influence, an effect, and a power never hitherto achieved. That is why at this moment, when the human race is undergoing so deep a transformation, women impregnated with the gospel can do so much to aid humanity in not falling." Clearly, I am seeing some neat things in there. I like the fact that they use the word impregnated, and I'm pregnant. Another word that they use is imbued with the gospel. That message came from one of the closing statements of the Second Vatican Council. That women imbued, women impregnated with the spirit of the gospel can do so much to aid humanity in not falling. That's huge. When you take it into your heart, into your life, and it grows within you, like this little baby growing within me, kicking me right now. And it's interesting in a way. I mean, the gospel, whenever you are impregnated with the gospel, when it's in your heart, when it's in your life, it does sometimes kick you. It just shocks you. Like, oh man, I've been doing that all wrong. Or I should really stop doing that. Whatever it is. But we can aid humanity in not falling when we can be women that we are called to be. Amen? I don't know about you, but are you sick and tired of just all the junk out there? I mean, are you sick and tired of like women constantly being objectified, sexualized, everything going on? I am tired of it. Here's the thing, and I do not say this jokingly. I mean it with all of my heart. Here's the thing. I believe that God is the king. I believe that he is my king. And I'm not kidding you. I'm very serious when I say this. I'm not joking. I'm not trying to be funny. He is my king. I am his daughter. And if he's my king and if he's my dad, I'm a princess. I am. You are too. I believe this with all of my heart. It is not a Hallmark card. It's not meant to make me think about Disney princesses. No. Dude, those girls are weird anyway. Seriously? Cut your hair, Rapunzel. It's a mess. We all know their extensions anyway, okay? Cinderella, can you not keep your shoes on? Just keep them on. Snow White, don't eat the apple. Seriously, do you eat strange food from witches? No. Dumb. Dude, we're the princesses. We are the princesses, and God is our king. If that's the truth, then that means that we are royalty, and we should start acting like it. We should start acting the way that we are called to be, because that is who we are. And it's ridiculous when you see us royalty, this royal family of God, who God wants us back with him in the kingdom of heaven, where he's the king, and we are acting like idiots. We do sometimes. Trust me, I'm like captain of the idiot party. I know that. But sometimes we do, you know? Sometimes we just need a big kick in the butt and be like, oh, okay, let's just do something different. So whatever it is for you, whatever thing that you've been going on and you've been doing and feeling and thinking or acting out, where you have not been acting the way that you should as royalty, man, leave it. Whatever you got to do, leave it. Make the phone call, make the text, make the choice in your own personal life, whatever it is, and choose to live a life worthy of your calling as a princess, as a daughter of God. And know that this is not some silly word. Unfortunately, Disney has made it out to be something to where we feel uncomfortable calling ourselves this because it makes it sound like we're 7 years old. We're not. And in a way, though, in a sense, we are God's little girls. Man, all of us, no matter what your age is, I mean, he just looks at us and he's like, oh, man, I love you. I think you're gorgeous. Stop messing with yourself. Stop trying to do this and do that to change who you are, to change how you look. You don't need to act that way. You don't need to do that to yourself. I love you. I mean, Christ is just pouring out his love upon us to remind us of how much he loves us. The fact that he looks at you and he says, yep, you are worth it. When Christ thinks of his crucifixion and then looks at you, yeah, you're worth it. You're so worth it. We're called to be something more. We're called to know our worth and our dignity as children of God and as daughters of God. And we can do so much to aid humanity in not falling if we rise to the challenge in doing that. And it really starts not in our activity in the world, it'll start here in our interior life, which is why I've been repeating the fact that God fills our hearts. He heals our hearts, and then he makes us new. I have an image up here that you can look up to help you remind you of this. But he fills us. He heals us. He makes us new.